How to train an employee with no experience. Are you frustrated by not being able to hire in the industry the people you want? Are you ready to build your own, train your own people? Well, this video is for you. So let's talk about what are some of the key steps to train somebody from scratch. And let me tell you just a quick story. I remember a wonderful individual who I'm still friends with today, who came onto the project site. And actually, this is even more remarkable. Obviously, he was smart, but he was brand new, had not been in construction, and didn't speak English yet. And so I met him, saw that sparkle in his eye of like really good, hardworking, really good work ethics, really good human being, interested, wanting to grow. We met actually on a hoist, on the material hoist. He was operating the hoist for our self-perform crews. Met him, expressed an interest in, hey, you know, what's your next step? We were able to communicate with each other with the English that he had and was able to speak, and we formed a relationship. And so I honor this man because he had a great work ethic, obviously was raised up by great parents, had a great culture and a great base. Now the question was, can we train this individual quickly to be a field engineer, a project engineer, superintendent, project manager? Can we do that? And the answer was categorically yes. And so this is what I said. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. I want you to take night classes. And he did that for, I'd say, about 4 or 5 months. Night classes to learn English. His English got to a point where we could totally understand each other. I was like, all right, next. Let's go ahead and I want you to read Construction, Surveying, and Layout by Wes Crawford, chapters 1 through 8. But he read the whole thing. I said, let's go ahead and get started. Then I'm going to introduce you to some survey techniques. He came back. He was like, Jason, I'm done, right? So we start practicing. He learns the total station. He learns the level. He started to learn these practices. And I'm like, okay, it's time to get you a license of AutoCAD. And here's a course on LinkedIn that you can use to learn AutoCAD. Nailed that. Okay, I gave him the next step, which was to learn Revit. Went on and got some LinkedIn courses. Came back, said, I know it. And then we started to tie it all together. And I was like, okay, here's the role of a field engineer. Here's what you do from start to finish. Let's start practicing. And it was funny that about 8 months after I met him, there was another project starting up right next door. So we gave him an opportunity. He actually started working the robotic total station. He learned the robotic total station. He was using all of the layout techniques that we had taught him. He was working with frontline quality and safety management. He was creating lift drawings in Revit. This guy was on fire. From start to finish, depending on what level of proficiency you want to actually recognize, it was about 9 to 12 months before. So actually at the beginning of when he started to actually act in the role independently, it was about 9 months. 12 months was the time where everybody's like, yeah, he's got it. Like, this is good. So from start to finish, 12 months in that story. And he became, after that, the lead field engineer and is now the director of surveying and layout for a company in Tucson, Arizona. Really, really great story. This is true. I'll hook you up with this man if you ever want to. Just give me a comment down below when you're liking and subscribing, please. Love you. And I can hook you up if you want to hear that story. But from start to finish, it was about 12 months. And there's a pattern that really has emerged with that I want to share with you today. So let's go. Number one, if you want to train someone with no experience in construction, you have got to have a hard worker. Hard work comes before everything. There's nothing that is out of your reach if you're a hard worker, right? Even if you know what to do, if you're not a hard worker, if you're not going to actually work at it, nothing's ever going to change. So in the story in my example, and I'm not going to mention his name, I don't have permission, but in the story in my example, he was a hard worker. So that's step number one, check. Number two, was he a core value fit? Or are your people that you want to train a core value fit? Do they align, at least out of your 5 core values, 3 of them all the time align with those core values, and 2 of them most of the time? Are they aligned? And in no case do they have any core value at your company where they don't align. If you have that core value fit, then you know that this person can go the distance and will take it all the way because they are aligned with your organization. That is step number 2, check. Step number 3, and this is probably the most important one, and the gentleman in my example definitely had this, is a growth mindset. We must have an individual that's willing to learn, that's willing to grow, that is open, that is believing, that wants it, right? You can take anyone, even if they're a hard worker, right, at the base, even if they're a core value fit, and if they don't really want to learn, if they get to a point where like, okay, I got it, now I'm fixed, that's not going to work. So if you see someone who's a hard worker and who's a core value fit and who is a really growth mindseted person, you have gold. Like that is gold. You got diamonds and gold right there. You can train a new person using the method I'm about to show you every single time. All right, so number 4, you are going to create in that position, once you have the right who, you are going to create the position so you can get that person in the right seat. You're going to create a scorecard. That scorecard should have on it, hey, this is what this role does. These are the technical skills and interpersonal skills that are required. These are the outcomes that we're expecting. Once you have that clarity, they know what they're signing up for. They have a target. So begin with the end in mind, right? You have the individual, you have the raw matter. Somewhere between you have the training, but start with the end in mind and really shape that path by being clear about a successful outcome. Number 5, if you want that raw material or that amazing human being to get to here according to that scorecard, they ain't gonna do it without resources. Everyone needs 4 things. They need the time to do it, they need the training, they need the tools and materials, and they need a place to work. Do not forget about, I almost flipped you off, but do not forget about the training. We must provide the resources. So that means, like I said in the example, the book, the training, the LinkedIn courses, or you can get them from anywhere, the opportunity. Provide that raw material, that individual, so that he or she can get to the end outcome. All of the resources in between to get there by way of the time, which means that you might just have to give them time to do training, right? The actual training itself, which means you might have to pay for it. The place to work, which means they need the room, the space to experiment, and the tools and equipment, which undoubtedly costs money, right? In the story that I gave you, it was the book, it was the training, it was the total station, it was the opportunity. This ain't cheap, but after 12 months, the return on investment is huge, not only because we blessed an individual, but now that individual is producing in a happy way. Number 6, everyone needs a mentor. Everyone needs a coach. Do not say, hey, here you are, we hired you. Hey, this is where you're going. Hey, we're going to pay for this, and just leave them alone. No, we don't do that. We check in, we mentor, we coach, we connect. How are you doing, right? Everyone needs a mentor. So if you're going to train a new employee, the method is, yes, get them the resources, but they must be attached to an effective mentor. And the mentor and everything else I've talked about is pretty well useless unless you give them the opportunity. So please just consider this. I myself in the past have said, well, I don't know if that person's ready, or they haven't been in that seat long enough, or they're pretty young. And you know who always corrects me? Who I absolutely love and adore? Kate, the CEO of Elevate and my companion and partner. She's always saying, hey, Jason, that's diminishing. Believe in these people. And I'm like, oh yeah, they are smart. Oh yeah, they do have a growth mindset. Oh yeah, they are a core value fit. They're hard workers. Oh, age doesn't have anything. Oh, you're right, Kate, right? So don't have diminishing beliefs and behaviors when it comes to your people. They're smart. They can do this. Give them the big O, the opportunity. You want to make sure that if you're asking them to be a field engineer, you actually give them an opportunity to be a field engineer. If you're asking them to be a PE, give them that opportunity. Let them write some RFIs and review some submittals. If you want them to be a surveyor, get them behind that total station. If you want them to be a BIM technician or a BIM manager, get them in there with those models. Get them doing it. Provide the opportunity. That is the next key step. And finally, if you do this, I have seen, and yes, this is in construction as well, I have seen in construction and in support positions and in even positions like at our company where we do scheduling and consulting, you can get someone pretty well trained in about 8 months. If the path is clear, if they're provided the right tools, materials, training, and time, and if they have a coach and a mentor helping them along the way to really make those opportunities value add. So this is really what it takes. This is how you train an employee from scratch. So as a parting gift, I'm going to give you the complete list of steps below and some recommendations in the description. I hope you enjoy that. You can take that tomorrow and start to implement it. So real quick, like, I know you love this video. I know you love me. I know you're going to sign off. But what if you actually took that list and took one of your new employees and mapped out a path and provided what they need, what would that mean for your business? Think about it. I hope you've loved this video. On we go.